A woman who has nothing is everything. A woman who pursues nothing is pursued by everyone. In the great amphitheater of human desire, there is a truth so paradoxical, it sounds like madness, and so profound, that the ancient philosophers spoke it in darkened loves, and contemporary psychologists examine it in sterile laboratories, as 9 women fling themselves across his feet, like autumn leaves in a gust of wind. The 10th remains as steady as a mountain, and for no reason at all. Gravity seems to curve toward her. This is not some rehashed dating tip from a guy who's never known the flames of genuine passion. This is the distillation of centuries, hushed intimacies from the candle-lit rooms of Cleopatra to the wild truth inscribed in the notebooks of Simone de Beauvoir, now decoded by the science of the brain and presented with surgical precision. What you're about to hear will liberate you totally, or leave you so shaken you'll wish you didn't know. Because once you know why the woman who can walk away is the only one who really remains, you can never unknow it. There is a psychological technique so strong that it causes a man with unlimited choices to lose sight of them and see only you. It's not what you believe, it's not what you've learned, and it's certainly not what the other suitors are doing. That psychological technique is called the principle of inverted power. But before I tell you why all that you've learned about attraction is reverse, let me tell you something. The contemporary dating culture brought about a callous deception that more work means more payoff. That being available is desirability. That being perfect is irresistibility. And here's what you need to know that will make you uneasy. The moment you compete with the others for his attention, you've already lost. Do you know what happens when you respond quicker than the rest? You're the available one. When you give him extra credit for being great, you become the fan. Number 11. When you attempt to be perfect, you are entirely predictable. The master strategists penned it in plain language. It is preferable to be respected rather than merely desired, but never disregarded. In attraction play, being predictable means being disregarded. Each time you send an instant message, each time you say, "Hey, handsome," each time you are desperate to impress him, puts you in the same box. Desperate applicants. He is now the HR director, going over resumes, and you're just another applicant pleading for the job. This is catastrophic to your role, since you lower your worth to being just another in the stack. And the problem is here. If you play on his same ground, you've already agreed to be measured according to his rules, not yours. The greatest error women make is that they think they become more valuable by giving more, being more available, being more flexible, sharing more of themselves. The psychological truth is harsh. What you get cheaply you do not value, and what you do not value you lose quickly. But here's the actual power. While they compete, you watch. While they pursue, you build. While they solicit attention, you create real interest. Because the woman who knows the game never plays according to others' rules. If you're still watching, it's not an accident. You already know there's something more going on here beyond hack advice, such as just be yourself or men prefer confidence. You remained because you know the difference between noise and actual strategy, and that in itself places you in a different league. Being picked and not being discarded is not about being better than the others. It's about making him experience something the other 9 do not even realize exists. And that, sister, demands an understanding of the masculine mind from a place the great strategists would have approved. Men do not operate as we believe. While we operate emotionally, they operate visually and experientially. While we build relationship through intimate conversation, they build it through experiences and respect. That feeling that the other 9 cannot bring has a name in psychology: emotional anchoring. And this is the secret that the great persuaders use to win hearts. It has nothing to do with perfection. It has everything to do with being totally unforgettable. Why is it that he remembers the ex who pushed him to his limits more than the one who treated him like a king? Plain, old emotional intensity. The male brain doesn't encode memories for mild or neutral episodes. It encodes experiences that triggered his conquest urge, moments that made him feel alive. While the other 9 attempt to be the perfect and predictable girlfriend, you will be the experience he can't shake his head, but tread carefully. I'm not referring to toxic drama or manipulation. I'm referring to real psychological depth. The distinction is subtle but heartbreaking. When the others say to him, "You're incredible," you say to him, "There's something about your way of thinking that appeals to me more than it should." When they say, "When will we see each other?" you have your own life so interesting that he needs to earn a space in it. This distinction is not only technical, it's philosophical. You're coming from a position of actual interest in him, as a multifaceted human, as opposed to needy requirement for his validation, and he knows it the moment he does, because it is so seldom that someone actually looks at him rather than needs him. Men are accustomed to women who require them in order to feel whole. When you show up as a whole woman who desires him but doesn't require him, you shatter his whole mindset. He doesn't have any idea how to put you into a category because you don't qualify by any of his past experiences. Here's the basic game plan. Build true admiration, not emotional need. The others pummel him with incessant attention, thinking that creates attachment. Deadly mistake. True masculine attachment is created when he knows you've chosen to love him for who he actually is, not for what he is able to provide you with. Great minds penned that men in general judge more by the eyes than by the hands. In seduction, it implies that he's going to judge you more in terms of how you make him feel about himself, rather than by what you can do for him in material ways. Constant messages, overall availability, over-admiration, all of that is hands. But to make him feel admired because of his actual accomplishments, respected because of his choices, challenged intellectually, those are eyes, and eyes always conquer hands in the game of profound attraction. The male brain works on challenges and victories. When you provide him with everything without his deserving it, you cut off the pleasure of conquest. It's like awarding him the trophy prior to the competition. It holds no sentimental worth. Men appreciate what they perceive to have earned through hard work. Actual scarcity is not being made busy artificially. It is being truly discriminating. It's not being cranky for the sake of it. It's having high standards and living up to them. When he senses that your focus is limited but good quality, your presence becomes habit-forming. He can't achieve that sense of being really chosen by a worthy woman with anyone. It's elusive, precious, and so memorable. While the other 9 are competing for time on his agenda, you take up actual space in his head, because the man with plenty of choices does not need another fan. He needs the woman who knows his inner universe better than he himself does. And that takes something more than techniques. It takes actual personal growth. Taking up space in his head takes something that the other 9 will never get: genuine emotional strength. And here's the tough truth. Emotional neediness is the stench of fear, and men sniff desperation from a mile away. Do you know what the difference between a powerful woman and a needy woman is? The powerful one responds intentionally. The needy one responds on impulse. When he is taking time to respond, the other 9 freak out, send mixed signals, apologize for something they didn't do, create unnecessary drama. You, however, go on living because you know something basic. Your worth isn't determined by his reaction. Your emotional health isn't conditioned upon his actions towards you. This independence of the heart is so uncommon in our modern world that it marks you out instantly. Men are wired to be hunters, but when a woman pursues them, it confuses their natural drive. They get to be hunted, and hunted flees. When you hold on to your personal power, he is free to use his masculine energy as a conqueror and feel alive. The master strategists knew this. It is worse to be accepted for being another person than to be rejected for being yourself. In the realm of attraction, this equates to something truly revolutionary. Good that he turn you down for who you are, rather than take you on for how you perform. Why? Because performance will always break down, but authenticity gives rise to permanent respect, and respect is what underlies any attraction that goes beyond the superficial level. When you perform to impress, you create an artificial standard that you cannot possibly keep up with in perpetuity. Authenticity is not about being crude and unfiltered. It's about being true to your values, direct in your boundaries, and loyal to your essence. while still being the elegance and mystery that sustained masculine attraction. Here are the nuts and bolts strategies that set the magnificent woman apart from everyone else. Selective availability is key. It's not that you're too busy, it's that your time has tangible value. You're not pretending to be busy. You genuinely have a life that is more important to you than outside approval. Thoughtful reactions also make the difference. While they react out of emotional instinct, you react out of mental acuity. All interactions are meaningful. It's not strictly automated reaction. You allow time to craft reactions that truly contribute meaning to the conversation. True emotional independence is another major pillar. Your emotional state doesn't hinge on his energy towards you. You're emotionally independent, which ironically is what makes you more desirable. He sees that you don't need his validation to be all right with yourself. You have your friends, your interests, your career aspirations, your hobbies. Your life is so full that he feels lucky to be able to come in and be a part of it. You're not the woman who cancels everything for a date, but the one who has to make space in her schedule because it's already full of important things. Finally, clear standards are non-negotiable. It's not that you're difficult, it's that you know exactly what kind of energy and behavior you accept in your life. And these standards aren't negotiable because they come from a place of self-respect, not arrogance. But the strongest tactic is this: instill authentic fear of loss, not by cheap manipulation, but by actually being someone that can leave. The other 9 hold on because they don't want to lose him. You create desire because you don't want to lose yourself. Masculine psychology operates this way. He doesn't want to lose what he can't control entirely. When you're predictable, he controls you. When you're self-assured and independent, he can't. And that healthy ambiguity creates an emotional adrenaline that becomes profound interests. Men are competitive by nature. When they feel that other men also find you attractive, their competitive nature is triggered. It's not about playing games or being unfaithful, but about staying your social appeal and not becoming his sole possession before he's worked for it. It's essential to note that this isn't manipulation. It's simply living from a place of personal integrity, where your happiness doesn't depend on any specific person. This mentality is so powerful because it's genuine. Remember, power, authenticity, selective scarcity. These are the basic pillars, but there is one last paradox that not many women ever seem to grasp, and that's what ultimately distinguishes the chosen from the discarded. That ultimate paradox is cold in its simplicity. The woman who'll walk away is the only one who'll ever stay. The master strategists knew it, and now you're going to know it too. And while the rest of the 9 hang on by tooth and nail, pleading for a second chance, you build the strongest mindset that is possible. The actual ability to walk away, not a bluff, not manipulation, simply a choice to love yourself more than any particular result with him. Do you see why this can be so effective? Because it absolutely defies all of his expectations. He's accustomed to women who intensify the more he withdraws, who plead when he has doubts, who pursue when he turns away. But you do something that totally disorients him. You honor his choice, and you honor your choice more. This difference in behavior is so uncommon that it instantly puts you into a different category in his thoughts. Men are accustomed to being the prize. When they meet a woman who also thinks of herself as a prize, it becomes an equality dynamic that they are drawn to. You're not just another devotee anymore, but someone who is equal and could go for someone else if he's not good enough. Here's how this plays out in real life. When he cancels plans, you do not immediately reschedule with eagerness. When he goes dark on you, you do not press with more messages. When he proves to be disinterested, you don't try to turn up the game to get him back. Rather, you do something groundbreaking. You live your life as though it were whole without him, because it is your happiness, purpose, value as a woman. Do not rely on the validation or presence of any particular man. The power lies in statements like this: I only put energy into those who put energy into me. If that shifts, I walk away without drama, only with integrity. It is not a threat. It is a standard. It is not an ultimatum. It is self-respect. The psychology is heartbreaking. When he feels that he might lose you for good, his primal brain sends out all warning signals. FOMO, fear of missing something precious, overpowers any other possibility he has. Why? Because possibilities are galore on his phone. But those women who carry self-respect within them are truly a rare commodity. In a universe of women who are desperate to get masculine attention, the one who respects herself automatically stands out. Men have a special radar for detecting female desperation. They can smell from miles away when a woman has put all her self-esteem in their hands, and that pressure drives them away because they feel they can't be themselves without disappointing you. Great minds penned, "Whoever forsakes what is done for what should be done, secures his destruction instead of his preservation." In seduction, this translates into whoever forsakes her own worth to acquire some particular man ensures losing him. The last irony is this: when you no longer need him to be happy, you become just the kind of woman he has to be happy. Not admirer number 10, but the rare experience he can't replicate with a quick swipe on his phone. He will always pick the woman he can lose. It's a psychological law, as unbreakable as gravity, and it's not that men are complicated or manipulative. It's that everybody, men and women, appreciates more what we think is scarce and authentic. Men desire to feel chosen, not cornered. When they see you're with him out of choice, not out of necessity, they become relaxed and can be their best selves. When they feel you need them to be whole, they feel trapped and close up. There you go. The technique that great masters of influence would employ to win hearts in the 21st century. While the other 9 vie, you win. While they plead, you select. As they pursue, you become that which cannot be ignored. The line between being another choice and being the choice is in realizing that true power does not come from perfection, but from authenticity. Not from requiring less, but from appreciating yourself more. Not from game playing, but from living by values. But this change takes actual inner work. It's not technique, it's developing character. It means creating a life that is so full and rich that no one man can occupy the center of your emotional universe. It involves building passions, purposes, friendships, interests that complete you regardless of your status as a romantic partner. When you possess this, scarcity and self-respect aren't acts, they're your authentic reality. A whole woman doesn't seek a man to make her whole, but to complement her. This mindset distinction is what sets women who have healthy and long-term relationships apart from those living on perpetual emotional roller coasters. True transformation starts when you understand this. You don't have to be the prettiest, the youngest, or the most pleasant. You have to be the most authentic, the most aware, the most grounded in your value. And that one, she has no competition because she is unique. The painful reality, 90% will get this message and do nothing. They'll keep on competing, pleading, pursuing, thinking superficial strategies can fix inner self-esteem issues. If you're in that 10% who actually lives this mentality of true power, you're headed for something great, because the next step of this psychological game needs women who know that true attraction starts with the connection you have with yourself. Remember, he doesn't pick the most qualified candidate on paper. He picks the woman who picked herself first, the woman who doesn't require his approval to understand her worth, the woman who can leave and is thus the only one he desires to remain with. This is the distinction between surface techniques and actual transformation, between momentary tricks and true power, between being another among the crowd and being truly irreplaceable. True power can't be imitated. It's constructed from the inside out, one day at a time, decision by decision, and once you possess it, you don't need to pursue anybody. You just live your amazing life, and amazing individuals naturally and effortlessly flow towards you. Ultimately, the strongest approach isn't technical. It's becoming the kind of woman you yourself would admire. When you get there, attraction isn't something you play at anymore, but the natural byproduct of being you. Ultimately, there are only 2 kinds of women in this world: the ones who beg to be picked, and the ones who pick themselves. History recalls the latter, philosophy hails them, psychology researches them, and men, Men never forget them. The ancient Greeks possessed a term, adoraxia, the unwavering peace that comes from knowing your own value. When you have this, you don't only win the game of attraction, you move beyond it altogether. You become the elusive woman who doesn't play for love. You are complete and sovereign love. The paradox becomes self-evident with stunning simplicity. The second you release the need to be chosen, you become the only choice that counts. 9 women will continue pursuing, still believing they might get picked. But one, only one, will walk away, look in the mirror, and recall who she is. Not a woman seeking attention, but a queen who decides where to put hers. She will navigate the world with the stealthy strength of a person who knows the truth. The only heart worthy of surrendering to is the one that cannot be won. Which woman will you be? The answer to that question doesn't only decide your love life, it decides your legacy.